This is Trash Talk with your host, Garrett the Trash Man.
What is up, everybody? This is Trash Talk. It's Fire Friday. John is hyped. And we're here to hype you up. First of all, because it's Fire Friday, we start with this. Thank you, Larson Waste, world's best trash company. Out there just hitting it. And that's what we do. So hit us up. Any of your trash needs, I guarantee we can handle it. So, yeah. Anyway, Fire Friday. I'll start today, dude.
Let's do her.
Let's do a little rant. So I was just thinking today, and I was like, being great wasn't the word I had, but I guess it works. Being great, we'll go with great. Just being great. Being a winner is a choice, and it's not a hard choice. You could really wrap it up and complicate it and say, oh, it takes time. It's this. No, it takes one decision. And that decision is to say, you know what, I'm a winner. Hey, you know what, I'm a champion. Hey, you know what, I am going to be great. And then moving forward, don't judge yourself too hard around it. Don't look back. Don't try to, it's such a dangerous thing to look into your past and try to, even analyzing it. I think there's some value in it, but I want everyone to know how dangerous it is because it's so easy to fall into judgment about it. And then there's no usefulness in that.
Yep.
And so just decide, hey, you know what, I'm going to be great, and the next thing that comes, I'm going to be great around it. And if you didn't act how you wanted to, look at that, say, cool, all right, that's informative, and move on. I think the whole world would be so much better if everyone could give themselves that space and give everyone else that space.
Oh.
But we just hold on to things and it's like, boom, let it go. Keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward. Remember what you're up to. Keep moving forward. And, that's just how I felt this morning. When you're learning something new that's completely new, in my experience, you hear the phrase, eating an elephant. This stuff I'm learning right now, it feels very similar to learning Spanish. It was just it's like everything's going over my head, and they're like, do you have any questions? And you're like, I clearly do because I don't understand, but I don't even know what my question is.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it. Say all of it again. That was just all over my head. And that's how I felt about this a lot. And it's like, nope, just keep your head down, just like what happened when I was learning Spanish. Just keep your head down. Keep eating that elephant. One after another after another. What? I thought I knew that, and now I don't. Don't worry about it. Don't judge. Don't be like, oh, I'm never going to get this. Nope. Release all that and just keep going, keep moving. And my experience has been on those types of things, it's the most valuable. And all of a sudden you just hit something that's like, boom, oh my gosh, I can see it now, I'm at the mountaintop. And that doesn't mean that there's not another summit to get to. But you're like, oh, shoot, I'm above the clouds. I can see now. Oh, this all makes sense.
Light
Sweet.
bulb.
Yeah, now I can keep climbing. And so whatever that is in your life, I just want to say, make the decision now to be great on it, that you're not giving up, that you're just going to keep chewing away, and you're not going to judge yourself around time that it's happening or backslides or anything like that. You're just going to focus on keep moving forward.
Dude, I like that because I know in my experience, all of the things that I have accomplished in my life, if I've accomplished anything in my life, it's been because I was intentional about it.
Mm-hmm.
I made a decision to do it, and I just moved and did it.
Yeah, well, dude, I think I've heard you say it a lot. Successful people don't get there by accident.
Yeah.
You don't just fall onto a mountaintop.
Nope. No. Yeah. And that is one thing for me that was just if I want to create what I want to create in life, it is not going to be accidental in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I've accomplished anything in life, I have had to realize I was super intentional. And it's almost like when you do accomplish it, it's about dang time I accomplished that instead of oh wow, this just What an accident
Yeah.
that happened.
Well, and I like what you said as the inevitable part, because so I was talking with someone yesterday about a project I've got going, and he said, "How you feeling about it?" And this is a project that I'm very, very intentional about, very clear about what I'm creating. And I said, it feels like marrying my wife, and what I mean by that is, with my wife, there was no question to me that I was gonna marry her. Like it wasn't like, oh, let's date and let's see what happens. It was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna marry her. We'll see what's happening. And it was funny because it caused some fights with us right when. So we dated in high school. I left for 2 years as a missionary. We came back, and like the day after I got back, like she flew back home from Utah. I met her, and like it was great. We went on a date, and I was like, yep. And I was wanting to go like mess around a little bit. I'm like, oh, I need to go date some other girls just so I know I'm always sure. But I knew like it was inevitable. I was marrying this, and she was calling me on it. She was like, and this, like, this was 2 years after us like not talking to each other. We get back together, and like a week later, she's like, no, you don't need to date anyone else. You're marrying me. And she just called me out on it. Yeah, it was just super clear, and that's how this project felt. And so he's like, how are you feeling about this? I'm like, it's inevitable. Like it's just the doing of the thing. There's no stress or tension or anything like that around it. It's just so clear that it's going to happen to me, and so I'm just going about having it happen.
Yeah.
And so when there's setbacks, because there are setbacks, they don't occur for me as like, oh no, is this going to happen now? Now it's stressful. It's like, oh, well, here's the thing to get over or around or through or however we do it, and the inevitable will continue. So I really like how you phrased that.
Well, and it's also like it comes from commitment and being committed and having clarity around the subject. Because like once you know that needs to happen, and like there's no questioning that any longer, it just brings that space where you're just like, oh, there's an obstacle. Like let's just drive around it.
Yeah.
Like instead of stopping and trying to figure out how to get around the obstacle. No, we just got to get, we got to get through the obstacle, Or if there's some, a tree fell across the road, you tie a rope to it, pull it off to the side of the road, and keep going. Like whatever it is, like it's just like, oh, problem, create a solution, apply that to the problem, and move on.
Well, dude, commitment dissolves fear, and fear is absolutely paralyzing.
Yeah.
And what you just described there, how I hear that is like you show up to an obstacle, a problem, an issue, and there's no fear there. There's no paralyzation. And I don't speak that like I've never experienced it, because I absolutely have had that fear where it's like, I can't move.
Yeah, you don't clench your move.
This is a problem. What do I do? How do I handle it? And, in everything that's going on in this country right now, all of it, man, if we could get some leadership in it. And I say this from a place where I'm going to be a little bit contradictory, because the true leadership happens on an individual basis with your family, with yourself, with your relationships, with your family, and in your community. And if we had a bunch of that, it would all be handled. But also it helps coming from the national, federal level down, where I'm like, any leadership in these obstacles, they feel unique, but they're not unique in the way that there's always obstacles and issues in a country like our country. Because there's just our country is so diverse, and that's what's incredible about it. It truly is a melting pot, and strong leadership, like what you're saying, where fear wasn't paralyzing people. If we could have leaders, if leadership was the United States way of being, where we saw an obstacle and we said, all right, fear's not going to paralyze us. Here's what we're going to do. And you know what? That may or may not be the best. Who knows? But here's what we're going to do, and we're going to get through it. And if something changes, boom, we'll change it. We're not committed to the way that we're doing it. We're committed to getting through it. And, man, as I sit back and look at everything that's going on, it's like all this would be so clearly solved with leadership. And there's just a void of that. But in that void, there's opportunity for you to be whoever you want, because if you see an issue, chances are there's a lack of leadership, and you can be the hero, the leader in it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, and it kind of goes in to tie into like, this is really tying into what I was going to talk about. It's like how much fear is just rampant right now, like in every aspect of what's going on in our country.
mm-hmm.
Like it's you can almost smell it in the air. It's so thick, and it's just like we don't have to live by that.
No.
Like, guess what? New viruses have been going across the world since the beginning of the human race. Like, guess what? We're gonna survive.
Yeah.
Like,
and if we don't, then we didn't. Like, what's there to be afraid of?
exactly. Like there's just the fear is not necessary. I'm not saying it's hard not to feel fear, because I know fear still, as hard as I try not to let it like be a part of my life, still creeps in, still runs whole aspects of my life that I still need to work on.
Well, and you don't choose if it shows up or not,
Yeah,
but you get to choose how you interact with it.
exactly. And you can push it out of your life. Like, you can say, no, I'm not going to live this part of my life through the filter of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it's not hard to not do that, because it is, you know, and I'm not going to say hard. It's just, it takes the action necessary to be aware, and then to go about getting rid of it. And for me, at times, that is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it can be as difficult as you make it to be.
Yeah,
it can be easy.
But it definitely takes work.
Yeah. It definitely takes work and action around it. But, like, we don't have to have that. And yeah, it's just incredible how sometimes you go to certain places and, like, you can almost smell it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, wow. I mean, this is pretty rampant going on around here. Like, hey, let's get rid of it and get through it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to end, but now I want to talk about one more conversation I had yesterday that I thought was a very useful conversation. And it kind of goes back to leadership and how much I want to see it. And so I want to use whatever platform I have to, like, spread out and just draw wherever you're at, like, you have opportunities for leadership. So I was discussing with a team member here at Larson Waste. I said, listen, I firmly believe that every single person that interacts with Larson Waste is better off in their life being a Larson Waste customer. Maybe it's because I put out a piece of content that makes them smile. Maybe it's because they have a conversation with one of our incredible customer service reps that's just pleasant and changes their whole day. Maybe it's because our driver does better customer service and goes and gets their can from. Maybe, like, it can be a huge impact, or it can be a tiny impact that's subconscious that they don't even recognize. But one thing I'm super clear about is we produce here at Larson Waste, and we're intentional about what we produce.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like I said, to some people it might be such a small impact that they don't even consciously know it's happening to them, but it's still there. And if everyone from wherever and we're the garbage guys. We're the garbage guys, but we're intentional about having that impact for anybody that interacts with us.
Yeah.
And it will have a difference. It has a difference. I see it. I've got notes pinned up on my freaking board over there about people that have wrote letters. Like, you guys made a difference for me. Sometimes it was, hey, we stopped and helped out someone that was broken down. Sometimes it was just a regular great customer service. Like I said, the impacts are huge in variety and scope and size. But whether you're the garbage guy, a plumber, the healthcare home guy, and whether you are an employee of Walmart, like, every single person has a way that they can bring leadership to dissolve that fear. So wherever you're sitting, I just want to freaking encourage exactly what John said. Let's get rid of this fear here. And because how I say it is, like, all right, like, let's look at my sphere of influence, myself. Okay, I'm going to lead myself so there's no fear. My family. Okay, I'm going to lead my family to where we eliminate fear. Okay, my business. I'm going to eliminate fear in my business. Okay, my community. What can I do to eliminate fear in my community? And, man, can you imagine the power that the force would be? And I think you track it back, and that's really what has made America great.
Well, I was just about to say, why do they call it the greatest generation? Like, because guess what? Like, look at what they accomplished. And guess what? That wasn't from a place of fear.
Yeah.
There was plenty to be fearful about, during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, was there plenty to be fearful.
Yeah, a virus that all the data is very sketchy about is a lot less scary than, all our cities could really be bombed at any time.
Yeah.
And, this not a safe time.
Well, and look what happened. Like, a lot probably may have been able to be mitigated if the United States hadn't acted out of fear until pressured into the war.
Mm-hmm.
But then look what they did when they finally cast it aside and said, no, we're going to go win this war and keep the world free.
Yeah.
Like, that's just one example. Everything in life that has been accomplished wasn't from a place of fear.
No, because you're paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got fear. Yeah. So, anyway, I'm about to go off for another 15 minutes. But
Yeah,
instead, I'm going to...
Reel it in.
You're raping me up, John. But instead, I'm going to end it here. So, really appreciate you guys listening. If you got any value, just like we said, share this with someone. Just shoot it over. It's not a big deal to do that. Hey, I thought this was a cool podcast. Give it a listen. We'd really appreciate that. Maybe that person would really appreciate it. That's sometimes what leadership looks like, is simple acts like that. So share it with everyone. Get the Trash Man across all platforms. Ballard Senior Home Care.
Dude, he nailed it on
Boom.
Facebook.
Yeah, on Facebook. All right, appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend. Kill next week. Peace.
Thank you.